Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, with the grace, the mercy and the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, biiznillah, we continue our da'wah program to train as many life coach using our YouTube channel. We have more than 600 videos, and you go to Islamic Psychology PIP, there's more than 500 videos now, or you go to Ilmu Tawhid Kalam Cosmology, which is about the Kalam understanding of the nature of existence and the metaphysics of Islam, and then all about life coach training and so on, because we are giving you the whole framework, inshallah, over the next couple of years to train 12,000 of you, that you start with Islamic motivation, coaching, mentoring, counseling, Islam Heart of Love, how Islam can win the hearts of those who don't believe in Allah, in God, and bring them closer to Islam, and hopefully they convert and become Muslims in a way of peace, in a way of love. So what I'm doing now is giving you some framework in terms of how we Muslims must do da'wah in the 21st century, in terms of our approach using coaching, mentoring, counseling and so on, that we transform ourselves, family, ummah and the global universe. And I've given to you this whole series of video on the Ilmu Tawheed, understanding the basis of Iman, understanding the attributes of Allah, understanding the Ahkamul Sharia, understanding the attributes, the 20 attributes, the personal attributes and the other attributes of Allah, and then understanding the proof of the essentiality of the wujud, of the existence of Allah. Because when we can prove the wujud of Allah, then we can prove of this basis of the belief in Allah. If we cannot prove that, then we cannot say anything. But we have this traditional approach, that is the Ilmu Kalam or Ilmu Tawhid Sifat 20, which we tell them that even Imam Al-Ghazali used this frame, and I've given to you in the previous video, of how to understand and prove the essentiality of the existence of Allah in terms of proving the minor premise and the major premise, and then how with this cosmological argument we can overcome the idea of the infinite chain, that is Tasasul and Adar, the rotation. So these two are all impossible or absurd situation in terms of logic, rational thinking. And we have to understand that with this understanding, the fine-tuning of the universe is due to either physical necessity or chance of design. It is not due to physical necessity or chance, therefore it's due to design. So it's because of this then there must be a designer. And who is designer? We have claimed within the Islamic perspective, he is the ultimate creator with all the 20 sifas. He's all-knowing, he's all-capable, he's all-powerful, he's all-loving, all-caring. Every aspect of the sifah, 99 sifah of Allah, if we want to expand it to the Asmaul Husna, is within the preview of the divine creator. We have to be able to bring this idea across. So in our book we have the whole chapter on proving the existence of Allah and His everlastingness and so on. So if I just take one paragraph from this book, alright, to give you some idea of how we can then explain and expand our logical, rational exchange of ideas. You don't call it an argument. You have an atheist, a friend who doesn't believe in God. Okay, then as we discuss this, okay, then go through step by step using the Kalam cosmological argument. And I've given you some videos, and I'm going to give you some more videos also today in terms of the fine-tuning of the universe. So if the universe is contingent, we do not have an explanation in terms of the non-contingent nature of laws from which the universe existence follow. We do not have an explanation why the universe exists. So as I mentioned earlier on, we exist, the universe exists. Why? When? How? This is where the fine-tuning gives us this whole impossibility of it existing on its own from nothingness. There must be a designer, and that designer is Allah. This indicates the requirement for a personal explanation based on the intention of a sustaining necessary cause. That is, the necessary cause is the creator of its existence. We know of no natural explanation for the existence of the universe in terms of non-contingent law or principles that would cause its existence, whether scientific, quantum physics, whatever there is no law now. There's no rational thinking. If no laws or principles can offer a natural explanation, a personal explanation is required. A personal explanation addresses the requirement of an intentional act of a sustaining necessary cause of the universe causing it to exist. That means a sustaining necessary cause that causes it to exist is Allah, the divine creator, which has no beginning, which has no end, and has all the attributive aspect of the essential attributes of Allah, the 20 sifat that we are going to go into detail as we go along. So I'm going to give you a short video on the impossibility of this existing out of just like that, out of nothing without God. It must come from a command of God. That's why in Islam, Allah tells us when He wanted anything to happen and be, He says, Innama amruhu iza arada an shay'an an yakula lahu kun fayakun. Whenever that Allah wills to be, Allah just signal it, kun, be, and it becomes. So this universe is His command of manifesting the existence of all that we see in this diverse universe, and all the life form, on everything. It all depends on the command, and that command is very fine-tuned to the latest degree that is impossible not to understand that is a supreme creator with absolute will, absolute power, absolute intellect, who manifested our existence and the existence of this universe, inshallah.
From galaxies and stars, down to atoms and subatomic particles, the very structure of our universe is determined by these numbers. These are the fundamental constants and quantities of the universe. Scientists have come to the shocking realization that each of these numbers has been carefully dialed to an astonishingly precise value, a value that falls within an exceedingly narrow, life-permitting range. If any one of these numbers were altered by even a hair's breadth, no physical, interactive life of any kind could exist anywhere. There'd be no stars, no life, no planets, no chemistry. Consider gravity, for example. The force of gravity is determined by the gravitational constant. If this constant varied by just 1 in 10 to the 60th parts, none of us would exist. To understand how exceedingly narrow this life-permitting range is, imagine a dial divided into 10 to the 60th increments. To get a handle on how many tiny points on the dial this is, compare it to the number of cells in your body, or the number of seconds that have ticked by since time began. If the gravitational constant had been out of tune by just one of these infinitesimally small increments, the universe would either have expanded and thinned out so rapidly that no stars could form and life couldn't exist, or it would have collapsed back on itself with the same result: no stars, no planets, and no life. Or consider the expansion rate of the universe. This is driven by the cosmological constant. A change in its value by a mere 1 part in 10 to the 120th parts would cause the universe to expand too rapidly or too slowly. In either case, the universe would again be life-prohibiting. Or another example of fine-tuning. If the mass and energy of the early universe were not evenly distributed to an incomprehensible precision of 1 part in 10 to the 10 to the 123rd, the universe would be hostile to life of any kind. The fact is, our universe permits physical, interactive life only because these, and many other numbers, have been independently and exquisitely balanced on a razor's edge. Wherever physicists look, they see examples of fine-tuning. The remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. If anyone claims not to be surprised by the special features that the universe has, he's hiding his head in the sand. These special features are surprising and unlikely. What is the best explanation for this astounding phenomenon? There are 3 live options. The fine-tuning of the universe is due to either physical necessity, chance, or design. Which of these options is the most plausible? According to this alternative, the universe must be life-permitting. The precise values of these constants and quantities could not be otherwise. But is this plausible? Is a life-prohibiting universe impossible? Far from it. It's not only possible, it's far more likely than a life-permitting universe. The constants and quantities are not determined by the laws of nature. there's no reason or evidence suggests that fine-tuning is necessary. How about chance? Did we just get really, 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 really lucky? No. The probabilities involved are so ridiculously remote as to put the fine-tuning well beyond the reach of chance. So, in an effort to keep this option alive, some have gone beyond empirical science and opted for a more speculative approach, known as the multiverse. They imagine a universe generator that cranks out such a vast number of universes that, odds are, life-permitting universes will eventually pop out. However, there's no scientific evidence for the existence of this multiverse. It cannot be detected, observed, measured, or proved. And the universe generator itself would require an enormous amount of fine-tuning. Furthermore, small patches of order are far more probable than big ones. So the most probable observable universe would be a small one, inhabited by a single, simple observer. But what we actually observe is the very thing that we should least expect: a vast, spectacularly complex, highly ordered universe, inhabited by billions of other observers. So even if the multiverse existed, which is a moot point, it wouldn't do anything to explain the fine-tuning. Given the implausibility of physical necessity or chance, the best explanation for why the universe is fine-tuned for life may very well be it was designed that way. A common-sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a superintellect monkeyed with physics, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. The numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question. There is for me powerful evidence that there is something going on behind it all. It seems as though somebody has fine-tuned nature's numbers to make the universe. The impression of design is overwhelming.